I'll go ahead and give it a little stab of the throttle. Actually, kind of push me back. And it redlined at about 6,500 RPM. And I mean, this again, it's a minivan. You wouldn't think that. Welcome to Drive Culture. I'm Jonathan Rivers, and today we have the 2025 Honda Odyssey Elite. And I'm going to tell you why this is maybe the best trim in the Odyssey lineup today. So we'll go over the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and of course, take it for a drive. So if this is content you're after or you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And with that, let's get after it. Now, the Honda Odyssey is in its 5th generation. It's been around for a very, very long time. And this 2025 mid-cycle update for the Odyssey brings it new design elements, new colors, and new features and technologies inside. So we're going to cover all of that in the video. We've also done earlier models of the Odyssey as well as different trims. So if you haven't watched those videos, be sure to like and watch those as well. So let's jump right into it, right? We're going to talk about the pricing and the trims, right? So now for 2025, it's pretty simple. You got 4 trims to choose from, working your way from the entry-level EXL all the way to this fully loaded Elite trim. And the Elite trim, the one we have here today, has an MSRP of $50,880. So it's not cheap, but definitely it comes loaded with a lot of cool features and technologies. Now, one of the other things is for 2025, Honda gave the Odyssey an all-new color, and it's exclusive to the Odyssey. It's not on any other Honda products as of today. So they call it Smoke Blue Pearl. It's an all-new color, and yeah, it has a lot of flex to it. Maybe in some lighting, it almost looks purple, blue, gray. So it's a very interesting color. So let us know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. Do you like it? And does it fit the design of this updated Honda Odyssey? So next, let's go ahead and talk about all of the exterior updates that they've made. Now, for 2025, they didn't make a lot of sheet metal changes, but one of the areas that Honda really focused on was the front fascia of the Odyssey. Not that it looked bad before, but they went all in to kind of try to make it look, better blended in with this rugged lineup of trucks that they have now. So the whole front fascia is all new for 2025. It's much more wide. There's this kind of vertical opening there below the grille, which is also all new for 2025. It's blacked out. You got that black brow that goes over the LED headlights, the very nice large Honda logo, but that kind of rugged hexagon look and feel to the grille is really bringing it in line with, like, again, the Pilot, the Passport, and the Ridgeline to give it that kind of rugged feel. Down below, like I said, you got that big opening, you got the honeycomb opening down below, and you still get those really nice premium LED fog lights off to the side on this top trim. The piano black housing around those are also one of the key change points for 2025. And of course, with this being the Elite, you get nice features like parking sensors, so you get 4 of those up front as well. But as we make our way to the side of the vehicle, here there's not so many changes. They didn't do any sheet metal changes or change that kind of, belt line that's been, on the Odyssey since this 5th generation. But they did give it a new wheel and design for several trims. So here on this, 2025 Elite trim, you're going to get 19-inch wheels. They look really nice. They're kind of like this, split 5-spoke design. They started life as, like a black, and then they were machine finish. So 19-inch wheels look really premium. We'll put the tire sizes down there for you so you can see that. But those are an update for 2025. Outside of that, again, no real changes. You still get premium things like power folding side mirrors on this top trim with LED turn signals. That's really nice. And again, you get that chrome accent that carries along the entire length of the vehicle. So as we make our way to the rear, here they also made some minor styling changes for 2025. And really that takes place down below. So the whole rear fascia of the vehicle was, redesigned for 2025. Again, squared off, made it a little bit more bold and exciting. But outside of that, that's the only piece that was changed. One random fact that Honda will call out is that those vertical reflector lights that you see there, those are actually parts taken from the Acura NSX supercar. So that's kind of a weird, mix in there, but it does make it a little bit more sporty. Outside of that, like I said, everything else above carries over. So you got premium LED tail lights, you got the nice Honda badge, that carries over with that black strip that mirrors what you see up front. And then down below, you've got Odyssey badging and the Elite badging as well. So I think we've covered most of the key details on the exterior, including the changes and updates. So next, let's go ahead and hop inside to talk about the interior. All right, guys, here we are inside this new 2025 Honda Odyssey Elite. And it's a really nice place to be. Now, obviously, like we talked about in the beginning of the video, it's over $50,000 MSRP, so it should be a pretty nice place to be. But I really do like a lot of the just color changes and updates that they made to this interior. So first and foremost, let's talk about the steering wheel. It's right in front of you. Again, the overall size and shape didn't change for 2025. However, the controls here changed. So you still get all your volume controls on the left, all of your ADAS and safety controls on the right. On this top Elite trim, you also get a heated steering wheel, so the button for that's here on the right as well. But this was updated for 2025, and part of that is tied to the infotainment system, which we'll get to here in a second. As we look into this whole center area, if you're familiar with the Odyssey, it'll look familiar, but one of the key change points, like I said, is this central command center here, right? So this is now a 9-inch color touchscreen, but it's been updated for 2025. It now gets things like the wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, a new graphic interface, still retains like hard buttons to get to the home menu. Your power and volume knob is here, and it feels really nice and premium. Your track controls are physical buttons as well. But this has been updated and makes it looks really well integrated, and yet it adds a lot of new functionality. And there's even this little place here, this little ledge that allows you to kind of like rest your finger as you're going through the different menu items here. Down below, this was also updated for 2025. All of your HVAC, all of your climate controls are hard-keyed buttons. And it's a really nice array of buttons. It's very clean, it's very easy to see what you need to access, and it's nice that they're all right here in reach. You have controls to adjust the temperature. And then down below, this was what was carried over. So you still have your push button style gear selector here in the center. On this top trim, you do get 3-stage ventilated and heated seats. We'll talk about the seats here in a second. You get the idle stop off, a snow driving mode, and an econ driving mode that are separate function buttons here. And of course, things like your hazard lights and your engine stop start button. But as I look across, like I said, I feel like a lot of the materials got just color changes, which make it really look premium in here. They've kind of went to this very bright, kind of, almost grayish cream color here. This new material that carries along across the dash looks really premium as well. But let's talk about these seats, because as you look across the entire interior, everything now on this top trim Elite has gone to this dual tone, two-tone seat, and it looks really, really good. So now the outboards of the seats are kind of like a black, and the center seats, which are perforated due to that ventilation, are like a cream color. You even get like contrast stitching and piping on the seats. So it does seem to justify that $50,000+ price for this Elite trim. Also, one of the changes down here is you got some new ports for the USB. You got USB-A for data, USB-C for charging. You also get a full 115-volt outlet here, as well as a 12-volt cigarette outlet here. A huge place to store things down here. I mean, that's one of the best things about the Odyssey, is you're not going to be short on cup holders or places to store your goods. You got cup holders here, an exposed wireless charging pad here, which is nice. And one of the things that they changed is inside the sliding center console, they actually put another USB-A for charging, and they put the HDMI port for this new rear entertainment system here in the center console, which is great because we're going to talk about what updates they made to that rear entertainment system. Outside of that, they did make a small change to the meter setup. So now it's a 7-inch, color screen here. Off to the side, you still get an analog speedometer. So it's not fully digital, it's not a full digital instrument cluster, but the graphics and the layout are different from what was before. Off to the side, you got all your controls. You do get, like I said, those parking sensors front and rear. You do get the controls to open the sliding doors. That's always a very nice feature being a minivan. You have your parking brake and brake hold off to the left, and you get all of your other mirror controls. And like I mentioned on the exterior, on this top trim, you do get the power folding side mirrors as well. You have to push the button to get them to fold in, though. They don't automatically fold in. So that's a quirk here for the Odyssey. Up top, you get a power moonroof and, of course, a rear view mirror so you can see your kids and anyone that's sitting in the back. So outside of that, I think we've covered everything up front. So next, let's go ahead and hop in the second row. All right, here we are in the second row of the Honda Odyssey Elite. And just like the front, it's a really nice place to be. All that same, dual tone interior, high contrast stitching and piping carries over to the seats. It looks really premium, right? I mean, it doesn't remind me of the minivans I grew up with. I mean, this looks like a really, really premium vehicle. Lots of good space back here, plenty of leg room, knee room. I'm 5'10", I got tons of headroom. Again, it's a minivan, so utility is the name of the game. On the doors, even you get that kind of dual tone treatment like you did in the front. You do get these manual window shades on the second row glass, which is really nice. Easy access to open the power sliding doors. That's really nice. And you get like your HVAC controls here in the second row, so they can control the climate from the second row. That's a really nice feature as well. Down here in that center console, you still get cup holders here for the second row. And now on this top trim, you get 2 USB-C charging ports back here as well. There's some interesting little pockets in the back of the seat, both at the top and in the middle section here. There's even an extra little pocket here to like put your cell phone. So there's, again, lots of utility, lots of places to store your things. And of course, being a minivan, there's lots of functionality to the seat. So you can actually pull down this center armrest area here. So that center seat becomes a center armrest. There's 3 cup holders here and a big cubby space as well. Better yet, this whole center seat can be removed, so that's a really nice feature as well. You do get armrests for both the the outboard seats, and that's true for the front seats as well. So you can almost get this kind of captain's chair style setup back here. And what's really nice too is if you decided to remove this center seat, the seats have the ability, they call it the magic slide, where they can kind of slide in and out like, horizontally, which is really nice. Will give you a lot of, ingress and egress to get into the third row. But if you had like child seats back here, you could essentially put them right next to each other or slide them apart if you want to keep the kids apart if they're fighting, right? So that's a really nice minivan feature as well. But one of the other big things that I wanted to talk about is this updated RES, the rear entertainment system that Honda has. And like I mentioned a second ago, in the center console area, they put the HDMI port. And the reason why they did that is because there's no longer any kind of like Blu-ray, there's no kind of disc based software to power this screen. It's all gonna go through HDMI now. And the idea is that you're gonna bring your, Roku stick, your Fire Stick, whatever kind of, streaming device that you want. So they call that BYOD for bring your own device. And once you do that, now you have an updated 12.8-inch rear entertainment high resolution screen. It opens with this button, slides down. There's even manual controls here for your brightness, and there's even a remote control that lets you do even more functionality here. But this screen looks fantastic, and imagine just being able to connect to the Wi-Fi hotspot in the car and start streaming all your favorite content on this huge rear entertainment screen. So I think that's a really big upgrade, and it starts from the touring trim on these new 2025s and then is also included on this Elite trim we have here. So I think we covered everything in the second row. So real quick, let's hop in the third row to show you how much space you get. All right, guys, here we are in the third row of the Honda Odyssey, and Unlike a lot of other vehicles that have a third row, there is tons of space back here. Again, it's a minivan, so lots of space back here. You could fit adults back here even for a long road trip, which is really, really nice. But same thing, you know, you still get this kind of dual tone interior back here, which is a nice touch, and there's still lots of space. So like, you know, you get the little mat pockets in the back of the second row, so that's really nice. And then here on the side of the vehicle, you even get manual shades for the side glass here, and that's really, really nice. You get USB-C charging ports, one on this side, the driver's side of the vehicle, and then two more on the passenger side of the vehicle. You got vents back here, so you're getting, you know, flow of air back here, which is really nice. You even have a place to plug your headset in for that rear entertainment system, as well as 4 cup holders back here in the third row. So plenty of space, plenty of, you know, areas to put your stuff back here and to get connected. So that's really, really nice. So next, let's go ahead and talk about the cargo space. All right, next, let's go ahead and talk about the cargo space of this Honda Odyssey Elite. Now, there's a lot of different ways to open the tailgate. You got the button inside, you got the button on the key fob, you have the lever here that you can pull, and on this top trim, you even get the hands-free access where you kick under the gate. I'm actually this time going to use this where you just pull, but it opens up, power tailgate, really nice. Now, one of the great things about it being a minivan is you're going to have plenty of space even with all of your passengers. So you can have 8 passengers in this vehicle and still have plenty of stuff back here, which is nice because there's a huge cavernous space back here. There's a ton of space back here. So it's actually 32.8 cubic feet of space with the third row up, and that jumps even further if you lay this down. And I mean, we're going to put the numbers up there because when you drop the third row, that expands. And if you were to push the second row down, I mean, man, you're going to have no problem doing any kind of Home Depot runs or buying that new huge flat screen TV. Now, the cool thing is that this third row kind of disappears into this space here. And I'll just show you really quickly. So first, you're going to lower the headrest. That's really easy. And then there's these Velcro straps. So you pull it off the seat and then you pull it towards you and let it drop. And basically now the third row goes away. You can do it on both sides really easy. And it's such an easy actuation, and it just kind of dips away that now you've got tons of space back here. But obviously, again, you know, you're not going to have anyone seated with this folded in. But this is a really nice convenience of that minivan because now you got lots of space back here. So I think we've covered everything in the cargo area. So next, let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain. So here we are with the powertrain of the 2025 Honda Odyssey Elite. Now, this powertrain did not get updated as part of this mid-cycle refresh. So it uses Honda's 3.5 liter V6. And in this configuration, it makes 280 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. It's front-wheel drive only and made it exclusively to a 10-speed transmission. So this powertrain is bulletproof, it's been around for a long time, and it has a lot of power for this minivan. But there's no better way than to prove that out than to get behind the wheel. So next, let's go ahead and take this thing for a drive. All right, guys, here we are inside the 2025 Honda Odyssey Elite, and we're going to go ahead and take this thing for a drive. So foot on the brake, hit the engine start button, starts up, nice little growl. You can see it actually you know, moves the seat forward. That's a setting, of course, you can change if you don't want that to happen. Go ahead and put my seatbelt on, lower my armrest, and we'll go ahead and take off. So foot on the brake, push button gear style selector here in the center, push the D for drive, and we'll set off. And you know, again, this is an Odyssey, a minivan, so we'll try to drive it like that. Of course, I'll show you what the performance is like, and you know, and how the car sounds overall, but we'll try to drive it like a normal user might actually try to drive their family minivan here. So you know, the Odyssey, again, it's been around for a long time. This generation actually launched back in 2018, so it's been around for several years and had several kind of minor refreshes throughout that life cycle. And each one, it just kind of adds more content, features, kind of tweak the design a little bit, and just make it
even better than what it already does. And so, you know, I'm really trying to understand, right? Like, minivans just get such a bad rap. And I mean, quite frankly, the whole segment has kind of gone down. I mean, there was a point where there was like half a dozen different minivans in the market. Now there's like really only like 3 or 4 at the top, right? You know, there's really the Honda Odyssey, there's the Toyota Sienna, there's the Kia Carnival, and the Chrysler Pacifica, right? I mean, is there anything else? There's really not much left in this segment. So clearly people are, you know, showing that they're moving more towards 3-row SUVs. But let us know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. Why is that, right? I mean, honestly, this car has really good performance, a big V6, has really good features and tech. You know, that big 12.8-inch rear entertainment screen as well. A lot of these features, you know, rival what those 3-row SUVs have. Also, combine the fact that you have the power sliding doors, which in most cases is easier to get in and out of for not only adults, but especially for children. And then, you know, your kids can just push the button to close the door. So there's that. You know, you obviously have the second row kind of sliding magic seat as well. You can push that from side to side. Again, most SUVs don't have that functionality. And then lastly, there's the third row. I mean, I feel like a lot of those 3-row SUVs, they actually compromise on how much space you get back there, not only to sit, but also how much space you might have behind that third row. Whereas something like this, I mean, you got lots of space. A full adult could sit in the third row, no problem, for extended periods of time. And then there's still lots of space behind the third row. And then, of course, in the Odyssey, like I showed you before, it's got that magic seat where essentially the third row just kind of disappears and falls into the floor back there. So again, a lot of kind of unique you know, utility and features that most 3-row SUVs don't have. Now clearly this Odyssey is front wheel drive only. It's not available on all-wheel drive. I know some of the other minivan competitors are. There's no other powertrain. It's not available on a hybrid or plug-in or things like that. Again, I know some of the competitors are, but again, let us know your guys' thoughts and comments. Why are you not choosing a minivan? Is it the look? Is it the image? Or again, you just think at this point the SUVs are superior and offer everything that you might need for your family vehicle. And again, I think there's going to be a split. There's going to be people that are in the minivan camp and some that are in the SUV camp. But for me, yeah, I get it. I understand that people like the look and feel of the SUV. I know for some, all-wheel drive's a must. I also know, like, sitting up higher and having that vantage in a bigger 3-row SUV might also be, you know, a point that someone really is going to choose that vehicle over this, because you do kind of sit a little bit lower than you would in most of those 3-row SUVs. But here we're going to go ahead and show you some of the, you know, performance here of the Odyssey. Like I said, it's a big V6, 280 horsepower. The 10-speed transmission's really refined. It's not like hunting for gears. And again, you're not going to be winning a lot of stoplight races. I mean, that's not the point of a minivan. But again, it has pretty good performance. And if you get into it from a stop, you'll squeal those front tires, right? There's a lot of power being sent there. But what's nice is while there's not full-on other drive modes, there are some selections you can make here. So there's a snow mode. If you were ever in inclement weather, that's going to essentially dial back the power to make sure you get the best traction in snow or inclement weather. There's also an econ button here. That's going to dial back the throttle, maybe turn down the climate controls, the HVAC, to give you the best fuel efficiency. And while there's no sport mode, again, with the transmission here, you can push the D selector to S, and I'll do that now. What that does is it automatically like kind of downshifted for me, and what it's going to do is let you kind of control the gears using the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. So when you click that, you'll notice down in the digital instrument cluster that it says S for sport, M for manual, and then it shows a number to represent what gear you're in. So right now it's just sitting there in second gear. So I'll go ahead and give it a little stab of the throttle. Actually going to push me back, and it redlined at about 6,500 RPM. And I mean, this, again, it's a minivan. You wouldn't think that it has this kind of performance, but the Odyssey gets up. You're not going to be lacking for power in this thing. And again, I think for what this family minivan is, it's more than enough power, right? So I will say also, like, if you're driving on long road trips and you come up on some of those really big overpasses or hills, you have plenty of power, plenty of passing power. And again, quite frankly, if you're using the paddle shifters to switch gears and to stay in the right gear, again, this thing hauls. There's no problem to keep up with traffic and even pass people if you need to. So really good performance there. We'll put the fuel economy numbers here so you can see the overall ratings. It's pretty good. It's easy to get into like the mid-20s, no problem. I think you'd have to really hyper mileage to get much more than that. But considering it's a big 3-row minivan and you're carrying a lot of goods and people, I think that's pretty average for this segment. But again, let us know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. Would you like to see a hybrid version of the Odyssey, maybe some kind of plug-in version, or even an EV Odyssey? Let us know your guys' thoughts and comments. So here, I'll get into it one more time. And the V6, it's got a nice growl to it. It really does. And it kind of, as you get higher up into the RPM, you know, it's that typical like Honda V6 growl, and it kind of screams a little bit. So again, the dynamic performance on this car is really good. And that's the reason you're buying the Odyssey. But beyond that, you know, the ride quality of this car is really good. I mean, you can soak up hundreds, if not thousands of miles. It's that good. I mean, it's not overly soft or floaty, but very, you know, very just kind of firm, but not harsh either. So it just gives great driving dynamics for a minivan. And then top that with the fact that the MVH, you know, the overall noises that you hear in the car are really well behaved. I mean, you don't get a lot of wind noise, a lot of road noise. I mean, sure, I'm just driving around town here, but even if I was up on the even if I was on the freeway, I mean, sure, you'd get a little bit extra wind noise, but for the most part, there's really good isolation in the car, and mostly what you're getting is that, you know, the sound of that engine ripping as you get into it. So, yeah, again, I think this Odyssey is a great family vehicle, but like I said, let us know your thoughts and comments down below. Would you want to see other Odyssey trims on the channel? Would you like to see some of those other minivan competitors on the channel? We're happy to bring that content to you. But with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. What did you think of the 2025 Honda Odyssey Elite? Do you need to go all in and get all the features for this, you know, plus $50,000 minivan? I mean, admittedly, that rear entertainment system that's been updated is going to be a blast for the kids in the back or anyone else that you're taking on your family road trip. So let us know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. Let us know if you ever want to see something more on the Odyssey, whether it's hybrid technology, all-wheel drive powertrains. Let us know your thoughts down below. And if you want to see other minivan competitors, we're happy to bring it to you. So if you've joined the channel before, thank you so much. But if you're new, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. Thanks, and we'll see you at the next episode.